coming to you live, guys. This is Brandon Acosta. Go around the table there.
Fire it off, Brandon. You start it.
So, Brandon, and I fly for an airline that begins with a U.
Yuhan, is it Yuhan Air? Is it Yuhan Air?
Someday.
Probably.
All right, I'll go next because we'll do the triangle because I'm the only North guy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Actually, the airline that I fly for used to be called North, but now in South is the other one. But it's they like to call it the Widget. And I've been there for
that was complicated.
5.5 years, and
only 5.5. Are you gonna get furloughed?
No.
Speaking of which,
yeah. Why don't we talk to the guy who's getting furloughed?
Next up on the scene.
You're up.
Okay, if I was flying for an airline, it would be blank anonymous.
I got it. Yeah.
Oh shoot! No.
Oh wait, no, the other one.
Initials of those.
Yeah.
Yes.
Initials.
The initial of that organization that helps pilots all around the world.
Yeah, you're talking about the organization that we're all in.
Oh no! I'm an
the same
Al-Anon
letters.
guy, man. Al-Anon.
Al-Anon.
Yeah, totally different thing.
So the segment is called Furlough Fridays, but keep in mind, gents, it doesn't have to have anything to do with furlough. We're just a bunch of dudes getting together that are probably could potentially be on some furlough list. And since we're not working anyway, we're just going to BS a little bit and talk shop about the things that we're doing while we got the time off.
Well, Brandon, I see you got something
side.
in your hand. Why don't we go around with what are you drinking?
Oh, I'm not answering that question.
Ooh, no? Why is it illegal?
Nope.
Is it pre-prohibition?
Hey, I am in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, dude. That's what we do.
Oh, you got good stuff up there. Are you guys not allowed to drink?
Oh no, are we allowed to drink? Yeah, but what I'm about to show you guys is going to really get.
Well, I could show you the bottle, but I'd have to get out.
All right, I'll start.
You know what, Dick? You ever had
You
Dickel?
just asked a question. Answer it.
I'll start because I'm not afraid. That's right. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid.
You should be. That's nothing. What is that? Water?
It's called Press. It's the greatest alcoholic seltzer I have ever had.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
you'll never be on Whiskey Wednesdays.
I am an hour behind you guys. I can't start scotch until after a certain.
I thought it was going to be like episode 5, like 2 hours in when we would run into our first seltzer, but it's first 5 minutes.
Wow. A seltzer.
Hey, man.
And we're not even chugging them. I mean, if you're on a boat on a Saturday in Tampa Bay and you don't have a couple seltzers in the cooler, the chicks ain't coming. That's all I'm saying.
Dude, I'm just telling you guys, this stuff tastes great, and it's made in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. That's
is that why you're drinking it?
Arnold Palmer, man. He's my boy. You know, I'm a golfer.
Latrobe, that's the same place they make Rolling Rock. Did they just stop making Rolling Rock?
Boom. Well, they probably should have stopped making Rolling Rock a long time ago. That stuff sucked.
Green bottle, shitty beer.
Terrible.
So let's talk about. First of all, is anybody getting furloughed? Anybody on the list? Who's the short man on the totem pole? Red, is that you?
Oh, Zach.
How many years you got in?
4.
Ooh, man.
Are you
16 higher? But I'm at. By the time October comes around, I'll be around 11,000 on the total seniority list out of 15.7.
Have they talked? Have they thrown the number? Have they thrown a number out, like if they're going to, or what they could, or have they even mentioned that?
At
your meetings.
No, everybody's towing the line. Doug, my friend Doug.
I know. Wait, Doug
Doug.
Schwartz? Schwartz?
Doug Schwartz has gone on numerous media outlets and spoken of his intent to not do it. And he's had all of his minions go on their outlets and their intent not to do it. And he's friends with the union leadership and their intent on not doing it. So
that's good.
Well, watching what's happening at your guys' airline is different than what's happening at ours. We were a little late to the game on some of the stuff. Not to say it was bad or good or whatever. It's just different. So we watched Brandon's airline come out with essentially that large displacement where they said everybody's going to.
And they just announced another one today, by the way.
Oh, did they really? Oh, snap. I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
You weren't on it though, right, Brandon?
Oh, he displaced me. Yeah, everybody's getting displaced.
No, but on the second one, you weren't on it at all, right? Because JoJo didn't show up.
No, because I'm already displaced.
Right.
I'm already on the thing I'm going to be on. But I got 3 of my buddies that just got displaced out of the captain's seat and will be flying in the right seat of something narrow.
How long have they been in the captain's seat?
3, 4 years.
Hey, Brandon.
That's
have you guys ever seen a movie, and I'm not gonna name the movie, but like where a chick says, "When I open up my legs to you, you made a promise to me," and she's talking about like when we have sex, you made a promise to me when you put your stuff inside me.
Sure.
And, like, for me, the airline's like that, because like when you promise somebody captain, their life changes. Like that's life-changing money.
You should probably keep them there. That is life-changing money.
You make a lot of decisions based off that money, and maybe even the intent of
one of them built the
money.
whole house. He just built like over $500,000 home.
I don't know. I would be stressed out if that happened to me. I'd be stressed out.
Now, Brandon, I know I've talked to you about this before, and I'm just maybe in passing. Are you guys familiar with Dave Ramsey?
Oh yeah.
I know. I'm pretty sure Tyler and I and Brandon and I have spoken. And I assume Zach was, knew what he was all about.
From the Midwest, man, love him.
Yeah, and the one thing that hit me with all of this stuff was some of the dudes that I've flown with. So international guy like Brandon and I've got similar stories. There's dudes that you sit with in the left seat who you're going, whoa, you've taken this captaincy thing to a new level of how much money you think you actually are generating as a captain, and you are spending more than you're making, and you're making a lot of money. And there are a few people that I know that is going to hit them so hard. I don't know if they can even recover no matter what. You know what I mean? Like, my big fear is going back onto the line and flying with these guys and having to be their therapist in the right seat, because they're already coming up at the end of their career, and it's like they're gonna move.
Doing this all again,
dude. I know a guy.
All over again.
I know a guy just like Brandon. He's moving from the left seat of a wide body to the right seat of a wide body, and that pay loss is shockingly
30 grand, 30, 40 grand probably.
Well, at a minimum, because here's the other thing: the schedule reduction has happened.
Oh yeah, then the schedule reduction.
You're talking more like maybe like $100,000, and also profit sharing is gone. We won't see that for at least 3 to 5 years.
I'd like to touch on the whole so you guys aren't mentoring your left seaters right now on life?
I wouldn't know. I haven't been to the work in 3 months,
dude. I was flying South America on the narrow body.
Oh yeah.
Teaching these guys how to put their lives back together after they all shut down the hole, marrying their second and third, whatever is going on down there.
Important.
I mean, I'm clapping on one hand, like clapping like this, like shit. I was a young man once. I love it. I love hearing the stories. But like after they pull out whatever iPad they got and they start showing me the 50th person that they're going to hang out with down there, I'm just like, you're lost, man.
I got a good story about my old days at Atlas Air. I'm flying down.
There are good days at Atlas.
No,
it's a thing.
Well, let's put it this way.
I wish I would have flown there.
There are good days at Atlas.
No, you don't.
If I need to get a job, if I need to get a new job, there are really good days at Atlas. If I'm good at my current airline, Atlas had very few good days because you were so damn tired. But this one was
listen to you trying to be politically correct so they don't watch us and burn a bridge.
Yeah, well, hey, listen. Okay, listen to this. So,
they own the Prime Air contract.
Well, there's
one of handful.
But you got to remember too. They were supposed to negotiate. What is that called? Engineering.
2 gingers.
Oh, 2 gingers.
2 gingers.
I wouldn't drink that soulless whiskey.
Does it give you freckles?
Paul Gates. This is from him. So hey, shout out to Paul.
All right.
Shout out to
Pablo. So
if you're listening, Pablo.
Does it take your freckles away or give them to you?
Well, what do you think, Brandon?
I mean, you turn more red, so you do the math on that.
Oh, well then that's a wash. Anyway, Adam.
So we're flying down from Miami to Viracopos, Brazil, and these 2 dudes, they're probably maybe in their mid 40s, and I think both were senior FOs. And we got a 747 full of crap going down there. And I remember I'm sitting in the right seat, and they're in the jump seats, and there's a check airman on board and the captain. And this all of a sudden
30-minute show. Come on.
I see these guys pulling their wedding rings off, and they put new ones on. And I'm like, what's all that about? And he goes, and you got some things going on. I go, oh, what things do you have going on? Not only did they have different wives, they had full-on different families down there. One dude, and when we got to the airport, they walk off the airplane, we get out through the customs. Mama and grandmama and the two kids are waiting for him and all excited when they show up. Oh, look, daddy's here. And one dude told me, and one guy said he nailed it on the head. He said, dude, I hope the day I retire is the day I die, because I don't want my kids are going to hate me. All my kids, like all of my children.
On both sides, yeah.
On both sides. He goes, the wives will hate me, but whatever, they're going to hate me anyways. So,
no, you leave them both. Leave both behind. By then they'll be old enough. He's invested enough in both
Just
families.
find another
go to
Brazilian.
Wyoming.
Wyoming, the Brazil of the United States.
The Brazil of the United States, yeah. Go to some wilderness country, live off the land. You got enough money, you're fine.
Come to Wyoming. Well, you can have multiple families. We allow polygamy.
Brandon, you're wrong.
That's true.
He doesn't have plenty of money because he had two families that he had to spend it all on. He has no money.
I can't afford one, bro.
Yeah,
maybe we can talk about how you keep those finances separate.
Oh,
yeah. That's what you need to tell him. Oh, sure it is. Come on.
I mean,
I know a guy that did it, UPS, that did it with his per diem check.
The stories at the Miami flight office of the calls that they got are the best. I flew our chief pilot from Miami from AA to a vacation, and he was, he had a couple or whatever, and he's just telling me some stories. And we're sitting in the cockpit, and I'm just like, so who called you? And he's like, well, it was Mama from South America. I don't want to name the country. And, she was making a lot of implications. And, I don't even understand what she's talking to me about or how she got my number.
Wow. How she got the number.
You know what we should do is start our own call center that takes these international phone calls. We could probably have Nate and Kurtner run it. They're good at creating false accounts for different airlines.
So is somebody else really good at.
Yeah, well, and Nate's gonna need something to occupy his time.
Yeah.
Soon enough, right?
Yeah, because he's getting furloughed. Wah, wah.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you realize I have the most to lose since I'm the most senior. I've gained the most livelihood in this.
Brandon, I mean, you're the first person I thought of when they talked furloughs. You're the first person that came to mind. I was like,
yeah, think of the thin position it puts me in. Now I'm a wide body guy. I'm a 777. And the position it puts me in is just I might need therapy.
Well, you might have to You might have to cut down to one fedora. The wall over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, you know what I'm
sell your
fedoras,
I'm
gonna have to sell some of these.
Yeah.
We were actually debating which fedora you were going to wear, and then you bust out a baseball cap.
Yeah, but it's tilted.
Always got to have a little style. Yeah. Always got to have your own. Because
I almost went with the black.
This is kind of how I curve. I kind of curve to the left.
He's the Cuban Dontrell. He's the Cuban Dontrell Willis.
I don't know who that is. Zach, a sports person.
Oh, yeah, this is how I almost.
It's a sports guy with a ball. So I think calling it Furlough Friday, unfortunately, for one of us might be accurate, and the other two might not be. It's so accurate, but
I actually think I'm good.
You do?
I think you are too.
That's good.
I think you are too.
Is your airline though?
Well, so the problem is we have 15.7 thousand pilots, and if you take management and dudes that are out on furlough, they just released a number the other day that's crazy. They said that we've been operating full summer schedule last year on 9,000 active pilots. So you're telling me we got 15.7 on the seniority list.
Wow.
And they were operating on
That's
9.
insane.
So you're talking a ton of mill leave. You're talking.
Is that what it is?
No, I'm just saying you're talking. These are management pilots.
Oh yeah.
Mill leave guys, people out on medical. So if they're operating on 9.
Wow.
And they say that they specifically told us this is what they told us to bid based off. They said bid based off summer 21 projections.
Mm-hmm.
So they gave us all the projections of the aircraft and the numbers of pilots they're going to need for next summer. And I mean, it shows that, like, if you're in the 10 to 11 range, you're probably good.
Yeah.
It's all right. Good for you.
It sounds like more. The same here. You know,
maybe even more.
The thing is once, even if this comes back half speed, the retirements that all of our airlines are facing are going to, we unless the exposure drops off even further, which I don't think it will, there's going to be some uptake. Like, in fact, we've just reestablished some routes from one of our hubs to Amsterdam. So, which they were gone, and they came back, like, they said they're not coming back to July. And the next thing you know, they're in open time and going out to reserve pilots, which is great. Like, that's awesome. That means the flying is coming back a little bit here and there. Unfortunately, is it going to come fast enough to save some of us who sit on a wide body aircraft?
Hey, Adam, by the way, I want to correct you. I was on a wide body too. Like, I don't want to be left out of, like, the cool wide body freaking.
Oh, I didn't know you were on.
Oh, what kind of wide body was that?
I was on the 7576 out of Philly.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought you were on.
Since last April.
Oh, I think
that's not really a wide body, though. I mean, you really have to evaluate what a wide body is. Like a 75-200?
No, I mean, I was flying. What's the closest place? I mean, I was flying Hawaii. We're talking Portugal.
Sure. No one's disputing whether you're international, but let's not confuse that with wide body pay.
Exactly.
Word up. That's.
Hey,
yeah. I mean,
listen,
I'll text you the pay scale later.
Brandon, we are on the precipice. We're on the precipice of contract negotiations. We're the last ones in the hole.
Yeah, well, we're supposed to be doing that too. We're waiting for you guys.
Brandon, you guys have had 2 negotiations since we even came out of bankruptcy. You guys have had.
And it's sad.
So, like,
wait.
I know.
I'm just negotiating how I don't have to, like, how am I supposed to go back to work as a narrow body FO, man? Like, I don't know how to do that. That's like 3 legs a day.
You love your country enough, Adam. You'll just go back to the military.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Aren't you still flying in the unit or something up there?
I am still a guardian, yes, as it were, of the United States.
Are you flying?
Of America. I flew a couple weeks ago.
Oh wow! Look at that.
Yeah.
Are you still driving halfway to Detroit from Milwaukee and just sitting to see if they call you?
I did do short. No, I only had to do that one time. I did do short call, and I had to drive 3.5 hours to sit short call, and then there was no other option. It was I couldn't get there commuting, so I had to drive. It wasn't actually that bad.
What'd you do? Like find a bowling alley and just throw strikes?
Bowling alley, nothing was open.
You know where he went to make a little extra cash. He went to a truck stop.
I've always had a hankering to be a lot lizard.
So let me give you guys this. So here it is. Here's our projected. This is no heart attacks, no medicals, future retirements at Alcoholics Anonymous. Left this year 307, next year 529, 22 610, 23 814, 24 911, 25 941, 26 904, 27 772, 28 688. And then it goes down a little bit, about 25 or 50 a year from now. But
you guys are like 300 pilots more than us during that time frame.
We're talking about a third of our pilot force gone in the next 3 years.
We're
4 years.
Essentially, it's us. We have the biggest ramp up, the fastest ramp up in the next couple of years. Then it's them, and then they go, and then it's you guys. And then you guys stay in like this forever mode of losing human beings forever.
It's about 300 to 400 to average that after 2025 or 2027.
I think all of us are around the same, except you guys have the slowest scale up, but then when you hit your peak, the peak runs for essentially for a very long time.
Brandon, were you hired at
no, can't.
Was I hired where?
At the Continent?
Yeah.
So the Continent was a young pilot force, right? That's why you're
very young.
Out.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's why the one that starts with the U evens out with the one that starts with the
Did you get furloughed when way back when?
Well played.
Brandon.
I like what you did there. No, I don't get furloughed because I'm black, so I think it's something in the contract. I'm not sure.
It's black seniority matters. Got it.
There you go.
Hey, Brandon.
So no, I didn't get furloughed, but I may or may not.
Well, muted. You're muted, Brandon.
That means a kid just ran in the room.
Yeah.
One of his spawn.
Yeah, that happens. I get it. I understand.
I wonder if Brandon has any buddies that work in management, because I think he always has somebody in like the hiring arenas.
Used to. I think he's moved out of that world.
Do you know anybody in management, Adam? Like, are you connected to the company at all?
I have a friend in the chief pilot's office. I have a friend.
That's good.
Who works in the interview stuff, which that was a thing, but now that's not a thing. But I wouldn't say connected. Like in our company, it's the inner sanctum is down south, and that's where all the decisions made, and then it flows out from there.
Yeah.
And much like the military, there is the information flow goes predominantly one way, and it's not like they're hiding details, but they just wait to release plans until the plan is finalized. And so
are you talking about your side of this, or are you talking about the company side?
No, the company side. Like, I wouldn't call it a bad thing, but some guys get torqued off because they want to know right away. And it's like, dude, that's not how it works. You got to remember there's 15,000 people that they're working with. You can't just get your data and then release it. Like, we had this last displacement bid, and guys were flipping out. Why isn't it out? Why isn't it out? Why isn't it out? Well, it caused almost 7,000 training events.
Yeah. When did yours come out?
Sunday. And
how long did it take to process from the time you guys?
Let's see, about a week, maybe a little less than a week. So it wasn't even that
to
bad,
actually process to post. You mean, or how long did it? How long was the window?
Post. So like it closed.
Didn't take long.
It closed on like the 25th or whatever, and then it was out less than a week later. And people were flipping out, like, how long does it take to run? And they go, okay, maybe we do have some IT issues, but human beings actually got to look at this at some point. And there's a lot of names on that roster, and guys were having a problem with that. And that, I couldn't believe it. I was just like, I get it. There's times where everybody's got an issue with their company, but it's like, dude, just be patient on this one. It's not going to change anything. It's not going to matter.
I was going to say, like,
getting screwed. No, and
that's the thing. You don't get sent to training. Hell, half of our guys are a good portion of the guys, especially I can only speak on the line that I'm on. Like for me, I went non-current for landings. All right, maybe they'll send me to the landings class. Nope. Then I went non-qual for my check ride. So that gate passed. So now I'm just sitting around kind of waiting for a phone call. But as this is going, they're allowing it because they don't want to send you to 3 or 4 training events. So you got to be patient and just sit back and wait till the dust settles. Then you'll go to training.
That is different where I'm at. So I went non-current for landings, and then we got the FAA mandate that moved everybody back 30 more days. Well, it also happened to line up where I could go to my check ride, CQ. So I'm going to CQ on the 8th on the airplane that I'm currently on, knowing that I'm not going to fly it for more than a month. Now, I'm sitting reserve, and there's a couple trips that came back, so they may use me, but maybe they
that's why. So that's the difference, because you're farther down in the active field than I am. You're farther down the
but you got to
actually used.
But you got to remember. You got to remember that my base has 1 departure a day. The southern base has 2 departures a day.
Yeah.
Eastern base has 1 or 2 a day, and the Western base has 1 or 2 a day. That's 5 or 6 total departures a day, with somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 to 600 FOs.
Sure.
I'm shocked
pecking order there.
I was surprised they sent me, but I was like, okay, that's fine. I hope to get a trip. I want to go. I want to do something.
I was explaining to me the pecking order is that, I mean, you're more valuable as an active, someone that they could use as a reservist, as opposed to
sometimes
a guy like me that's a line holder. They can let me lapse because there's other line holders and reservists that'll take my spot, as opposed to you are the guy that's going to take.
But Brandon,
my spot.
there's no line holders on my airplane.
There's got to be line holders. What are you talking about?
I'll show you the bid pack.
Jesus Christ,
June.
What do you? You don't even make sense.
Hey,
you want me to send you the bid package? Zero lines.
Let's talk about
every single pilot.
Because they're pickup lines. That doesn't.
Yeah, this is a good subject.
Every single pilot was reserved.
Actually,
A
it's a
and
good
B
subject.
category.
This is a good subject. I want to know how everybody's doing this, because like there are some bid statuses at certain airlines.
Yeah.
That are just,
it's crazy. They're doing
the companies are taking advantage of the unions, and they're just throwing everybody on reserve, and then they're just
yeah. So they offered it to us. They said, hey, you can have this reduction line, and
I saw that.
How great it is, right? And people are like, oh, you know what? Yeah, I'll stay home and get paid. But then they realized, wait a minute, I could just do this on reserve and actually get more hours out of it, which is what I did, and which is what was happening. And then they realized it wasn't such a great deal unless you could potentially get furloughed. Hello, Furlough Fridays. So if you can potentially get furlough, it is a great deal because it allows you to get paid and then go find a job somewhere. So they're giving you time, still on the clock. You're not making as much as you were, but whatever. Mm-hmm. Then they came back and said, you can do a 0 pickup line, which is like kind of what you got going on there, Adam, kind of, where not everybody's on reserve. You're a line holder, but you can pick up. You have a zero value line, and you can pick up throughout the month, and it's seniority order.
It's a la carte. You're flying
but it's a la carte, but there's barely anything in there. And if you're senior, it works because as guys drop stuff, you're picking it up. But I mean, we're flying at what? 10%, 20% of our, you know.
But Brandon,
so it's crazy.
We didn't have an a la carte line or anything, I'm telling you, the bid pack came out. 204 or how many? 189 FOs, 189 reserved schedules. And here's the craziest part. That was May.
How do you allow that?
That was May and June. And here's the most crazy part about May. If you bid off days in May, you know how normally it's seniority order, right? Like you want Memorial Day off, unless you're senior enough, you ain't going to hold Memorial Day or whatever.
Yeah.
You bid days off, every single person got exactly what they wanted off. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my 5 years, the 3 years on this airplane. I couldn't believe it. It did, because so what happens is when your schedule drops on reserve days, is it's yellow if you got the reserve days on that you wanted, so you got your off days that you actually wanted. It's purple if it goes over the days that you wanted off. So if you bid for the 4th and the 5th off, and your reserve days are on the 4th and the 5th, it's purple. I have never seen an entire reserve schedule from top to bottom, 1 to 189. Every single schedule was yellow. There was no purple days. Everybody got exactly what they wanted. And
so
now,
how are they paying that? How are they paying that?
Average
you guys
line
have
value,
one number for
reserve guarantee. Reserve
we
guarantee.
have reserve guarantee. We have long call and short call.
Yeah, you guys have long.
You guys got good stuff.
Yeah, you guys. That's awesome.
You got convert
because they've done
we convert.
They've done 20%. So what we do is they created some side deal, and they let us bid on reserve, and the top 20% guys get short call, which is 76 hours, and the other 80% get.
That makes sense.
Because I'm in a diet. My fleet's dead. So.
Yeah. Well, that's another good thing. So they can give you can just sit at home. Hey, your fleet is going away, and you're just going to take the men, right, on the reserve line, right?
Like for me personally, we offered all these leave of absences. So they did a permanent leave of absence, and they did a temporary leave of absences. They've given anybody 62 and over, you can apply. And if you're on a dead fleet like the 330 or the 7576 or the E190, they give it to you. It's immediate. Everybody else goes seniority order, and it's based on how many they want. And they mostly want wide body guys because they're looking to save money.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then from there on out, they're doing temporary leave of absences. So anybody that wants to go and do something else, you got a side hustle that you want to work on, you got a degree you want to get, anything like that, they're offering those, and they offer those on seniority based, but they don't, the numbers are kind of like, you never know how many they're going to give. And it's kind of a convoluted process, but they're trying to save money. So I understand it.
Yeah.
I support it, but
hey, you know,
me,
and it should be noted too. It should be noted too, people that are listening or watching this, that this is from our perspective too. These are the guys on the ground that are living this on the front line. So, you know, we may not have accurate information, but
that's a promise.
But this is how we see it, right? This is how it affects us down here in the trenches. So, you know, people are going to sit there and watch this and make comments. Oh, you guys know what you're talking about. You're right.
No, you turn commenting off. That's the easy part, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Who doesn't love comments?
Well,
we like comments more than your Wi-Fi connection. That's for sure.
You know what? He's got dial-up. That's fine.
Apparently, wide body's not paying enough.
No, it doesn't. Well, and they don't have enough time off to call the cable guy to come restore the hookup.
Too busy going visiting, you know, my families.
You ain't going nowhere, and you ain't doing nothing.
I put an app in, Brandon, so maybe I can come hook you up with some better Wi-Fi whenever.
Yes.
Hey, speaking of Wi-Fi, did you guys know T-Mobile is offering Wi-Fi now, like in your home?
Yeah, the 5G thing. Is that what you're talking about?
No, it's not 5G. It's like comes from the tower, and they put a Wi-Fi router in your house.
Yes, that's.
I got it on the way, so I'll let you know how it goes. I'm kind of excited about it.
So my buddy Hugh works for Verizon, and he talks about 5G.
Are you doing it?
Because he's an engineer for him.
Yeah.
5G is
my buddy too.
Like you got to have basically, essentially a router sitting on the street poles in every neighborhood, and it's got to have direct connectivity, and that's eventually we'll get there, but it's a ways off.
I wonder if they're using
got a buddy at Verizon doing this.
Oh, yeah. You need T-Mobile Wi-Fi, Brandon. But I wonder if they're going to use our Wi-Fi routers as 5G links along the way. You know what I mean? Like all these routers in the homes.
Did you guys ever see back when Sony? This is like PlayStation 3 time frame, I think. Sony came out with this whole idea where you'd have a Sony TV, Sony PlayStation 3, Sony this, Sony that, and everything would talk to each other. All you do is hook it up to your home Wi-Fi, and it would automatically talk, and then it would create this bubble that would then, if your neighbor had a bunch of Sony stuff, it would all talk to each other. And I remember this has got to be like 2006 or something like that. My buddy kept calling it Skynet, and at that point, I have learned to fear the machines. Yeah, I'm done with that guy, anyways. Get him out of here. But yeah, like. I fear the machines now, man. I'm actually thinking about going back to a flip phone. I'm done with it all.
It's scary. It's the Internet of Things.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy when you're like I don't do a lot of surfing on the internet, but like
liar.
Like no,
Pornhub.
Full of shit. Exactly.
No, like my wife, she'll be
Zach
on
Hub.
searching, she'll be Googling something, and then she'll
Pornhub.
And then next time she gets on her iPad, it'll have an advertisement for whatever we were talking about, like a vacation home, VRBO, or whatever.
Yep.
Skynet's there, man.
Yeah, that's a true statement. Yeah, well, anyways, I think my future of going from wide to narrow body, I think the thing that I'm most disappointed about is there's one plus side, there's one minus side. When you look at the extremes, the plus side is I won't miss being as tired as I was. That's one plus side. Not that I flew that many trips, because sometimes sitting reserve in the colder months, you don't fly that often. But I won't miss being super exhausted, being a junior guy and getting the late departure, and then showing up in Amsterdam and getting to the hotel at 1 p.m. You're pretty wiped. But the thing I'm looking least forward to is being
Brandon's gone.
Not surprising. Not even remotely surprising. Is commuting to reserve. That to me, commuting to reserve on a narrow body is not something I'm looking forward to. Zach, you're probably in the same boat.
I don't even know how it's going to work because they cut all the flights from Tampa to Miami. So like if I got Miami, that used to be 7 flights a day. Now,
hey, it'll come back. Like Detroit and Milwaukee are the same thing.
Day, everybody's going to be on it. So like,
I know it's going to be different, man.
Thanks, Governor Scott, for getting rid of our high-speed rail down there. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, well, don't worry. Elon Musk is going to have somebody build the Hyperloop, and we're good.
I love that guy.
Yeah, I do too, man.
I saw that launch this weekend. It was pretty awesome.
Loved it. My daughter was all into it. I was all into it.
How about that cockpit?
Dude.
Yeah. What's up?
Industry always does it better. Always.
Did you guys see the picture where they show the Apollo capsule, then they show the space shuttle, and then they show the SpaceX and the 40-year difference?
Yep.
And what I wanted, it's awesome, but what I wanted them to do was throw a 737 Max cockpit up there and show that it looks older than the space shuttle cockpit and closer to the Apollo mission. Because I was like, come on, that's seriously like the update on that airplane. You were a 737 guy for a bit, weren't you? No, you were 320, right?
Airbus, yeah. Would you fly? Because like, my seniority would be a lot better on the 7.3 if I have to go back to. Well, I mean, I will go back to narrow body, but like, I don't know.
No, Daddy doesn't fly anything but a bus.
It sucks to say that, right?
Yeah,
I remember it used to be, if it ain't Boeing, I ain't going.
Yeah. I had a sticker on my bag for years.
If it's Boeing, I'm doing staff work. That's what my new sticker says. Because I'm like, I flew 7.4s and everybody talked to me how great it was, and it was a great flying airplane, but I just didn't. I don't know. I never felt comfortable in it, I guess, because you flew like one leg in a 17-day period. You spend a lot of time deadheading around. So when I got to the Airbus, I flew it a lot more, got more comfortable. And then the 320 to 330 was almost, if there's one awesome thing about the 320 to 330 program at my company, it was short, sweet, and they expected you to, it was big boy program. They expected you to know what you knew when you showed from the old airplane, and you walked in, it was like breeze through it, and then you go out on the line. And it was actually easier to fly the 330, I thought, than the 320. And it's also not as busy, Yeah.
Listen, I like being part of the new school, and like, I like big boy programs. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I know a lot of guys complain out there about training and this, that, and other, but like, if you give me the resources, I'll make sure I know how to fly the airplane. And I think we should all industry wide be into that. You know what I mean? Like, we're not in an industry where it's like, you can just pick it up day of. Like, you're not picking up hammer and nails and figuring out how to put out a deck or something like that. Like, you got to come to work with what you know.
Yeah. It's like kind of loaded a little bit, ready to, I agree. Listen, I think there's a time and a place for in school and classroom presentation. And there are certain things that I would change in regards to presentation by individuals. But yeah, I totally agree. There's like, as far as formal training goes, I don't mind. I don't like CBTs, but I also know that there's not another option out there that lets me do them at my pace, my understanding level. If I get it, I can zip through it. If I don't get it, I can rewatch it. I don't have that option anywhere else. And I think airlines do it better than, the Air Force's CBT program is. If I have to do that info assurance CBT, I think it'll be 2 more times in my career. If I retire at 20 and a half, it'll be two times too many, because there's only so many times that I can be told that, hey, this CD could have classified information on it, and don't give it to the pixelated thing that is talking to me about my cup of coffee.
So our military iPads, that's what's hilarious, is why do we not have a program where we get our training sent to our iPad for what we need?
Yeah.
And then it just cuts out all the minutia of all these wasted hours in the office of all these training departments trying to figure out who needs what and what needs what. Like at the airlines, you get your training sent down to you from the cloud, you do it. Once it's done, it sends an email to your inbox saying you've completed training, and you now have a record, they have a record, and everybody's paid accordingly. And why is this not happening on the mill side? I have no idea.
Well, you do realize that we do work for a
I do.
The largest company in the United States, and that is and I'm not speaking politically.
The technology is there.
It's there, but the slow movement of bureaucracy takes up it's tough. I mean, I don't necessarily blame any one individual, but it's just to get that process rolling takes such a man, and that's the end. Because I agree, man. Like if we had what we have at the airlines, even though ours is not as good in some aspects as some of the other airlines, when I'm on the road, I can pull my iPad out, hit 2 buttons, and I'm in my quarterly training, and I can watch a couple CBTs while I'm sitting in my hotel room, and it beats it doing it at home or when the weather's nice, and it automatically logs the time period and the pay. I mean, if we can do that in the airlines, and I don't understand why we can't get there, but I guess I do understand why we can't get there.
But it on a 70-year-old airplane, like we're playing the game like everybody doesn't know what our systems are for the airplane.
Well, didn't they drop the requirement for CBTs on that now?
They did. System CBTs are no longer an annual requirement.
Because when you have 38 sims a year now on the same 70-year-old airplane, that nothing's changed except for the takeoff data for some reason.
So one of the questions I wanted to ask, and I'm sorry Brandon dropped off, but like I gotta admit, man, like I got a taste of the sweetness. Last summer I got to fly the international Europe stuff and some international stuff, other places, Hawaii and all that. And like, I'm having withdrawal. Like I'm sitting at home. I got a newborn at home. I got a 5-year-old and I got a dog that's 1-year-old, and I'm at home all the time, and we don't have daycare, and I'm in charge of all of these people. And it's like, I don't want to play the game where I'm like not responsible and I'm not a good parent, and I'm trying my hardest, but like I'm an outdoor cat. Like I should be out like sniffing the scents in the neighborhood and finding out what's going on, and this shit where I'm just stuck in the house and I can't go to all these places with the kids where, I like to teach my kids, but I can't take them places because everything's shut down. And it's pretty heavy, man. Like I told JoJo today, I was like, I'm not doing that great. Like
well,
you can't go on the internet because the internet's freaking nuts right now.
You mean all the nice things people are saying to each other?
No, I mean, like, all right, this guy can't have a comment, and I shouldn't because I didn't grow up around it and I don't have any issues that deal with that or a history with it. So my 2 cents don't count, and I don't want to give it. And then, everybody's talking about it. There's no sports to freaking disappear to.
Yeah.
And
same boat, man.
And I got a kid that's drooling on my shoulder and throwing up, and then the dog's like bite me because he's got to go out and piss, and then the kid needs picked up from school. And how are you doing?
The same boat. Shannon and I she had to come to Jesus with me. She was like, dude, I don't like you right now. There was a couple day period where she's like, you're real short. I got real frustrated with everything that we were doing. Like Kiddo and I were out working on something, and I didn't snap at her, but I was definitely not father of the year material, if that's what you're going after. But yeah, man, I'm the same way. And it's not just me, it's her dealing with the fact that I'm always around. She's never dealt with that before.
Hey, Brandon, we're talking about like your mental capacity to be in this new world that we're in, as far as like, you used to be out flying the line, not you specifically because you sat every day on reserve and didn't do S, but like for me, like I'll admit, like I'm kind of a little depressed. Like
it could get to you. The only saving grace for me is that I was always doing something else. I always want to be in a position of fuck you. So,
but I have that. I got rental properties. I got military duty. I got all. But like
rental properties, though, like you let it sit. The military thing is so like, but that's why we talk about getting into our passions and getting into what we're good at. We are getting into that and understanding what that is, and it's a perfect opportunity now to really dig into finding out what your passions are, finding out what your talents are, mixing that shit up, and then go finding something out in the world that could use your expertise. Rental properties is not it. I know I've talked to guys that are doing that business too, because you buy them, then you let it sit. Unless you're doing some big commercial deal that incorporates a lot of business and a lot of that, acumen, sure.
I know, Brandon, but I mean, I'm talking about the general man. I'm talking about like, we're talking to our brothers out there, and not everybody is,
Well, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. You got to find that. You got to find that thing. If you're feeling that way, the reasons why you're feeling that way is typically because of not having that peace inside, or not even peace. What's the term? It's not even happiness. You're looking for a purpose,
motivation, something.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. What's the purpose? What are you trying to accomplish in life? You're not just trying to be a pilot, are you? Fuck. I'm already a great pilot, better than you three fucks.
That's true. Well,
debatable.
We're all better than Tyler, so that doesn't matter.
Brandon, how many hours did you actually operate an airplane last year?
At the airline?
Either one.
Dude.
Where else do you fly?
Maybe less than. I could look it up, but you know what? I'll look it up.
No, do you even know how to?
Okay.
Do you even know how to look it? You don't know how to look it up. He doesn't know how to look it up.
Talk amongst yourselves.
So, Zach, I wanted to jump in on something you were talking about, because I think it's super. This is like probably to me the most important part of the whole conversation. So, being a guy who had, I guess, a small business, and then kind of doing some other stuff on the side, and then just like I had, projects around the house, whatever. But I will tell you what, all of us, I think. And this is a real representative group of the bigger picture with these folks, military guys. All of us, I think, got through the first 2 months of this in the beginning fairly easily, because it was like a deployment. In my opinion, I felt like I was deployed. Same thing every day. It just, my family was there, and I could drink as much as I wanted to drink. And I had my home gym and all that stuff, so I was good.
Were you drinking the same thing you're drinking tonight?
No, because
that's marginally depressing.
I didn't realize.
I was gonna say
press
pretty
existed.
Imagine
However,
if you had
I will
that
say,
on month one.
I will say, boxed wine goes down great, and I drink a lot of that.
My dad that's 60 loves a boxed wine.
I do. I'm a big fan, man. Kirkland Signature. So, not affiliated. So the other thing I noticed though was after probably like in the last 3 weeks, the ramp off the edge was bad. You know what I mean? Like, that's where I noticed that I was getting short, that my purpose wasn't, I didn't feel like I had, not the pilot part, but just, I'm not a stay-at-home dad by trade. And all of a sudden I was like, dude, I'm confused is what I'm supposed to be doing now. And the stuff that I want to do, like I do, like Brandon said, find your passions, find what else drives you. The next thing I know is I've got like kind of a job, a side gig that might happen. But the problem is what is it related to? The other thing I love, sports. Well, that ain't going on either. So it's like you just kind of bounce from thing to thing until I guess it lands. And the worst part is I wasn't really talking. I wasn't even, I talk to everybody about anything, about everything. And I wasn't really talking about just the fact that I was like, dude, I kind of feel like shit, man. And I guess we're never supposed to say that. Well, one day I was like, dude, I feel like shit. I'm not that happy. And it's nobody's fault but my own. And the next thing I know, I was like, you know what? That felt really good.
That's what a pilot does. That's what.
And it felt really great to say that. And then I felt better. And I seriously felt better like the day I said it. It was crazy.
I don't know. I have a good friend that we both went to college at Southern Illinois University. I went for engineering. I did ROTC, and all I wanted to do is something else, engineering and military.
And you were almost a Division I basketball player.
Well,
almost. I've seen the boy hoop.
Yeah. Anyway, but I got a call from my buddy that went the GA track, like general aviation. He got all his qualifications, got his degree. He goes off and flies regionals for 10 years, gets the call up to the big boys. He's working at Brandon's company. But he calls me up and he's frantic. Like, he is calling me up asking like what my company's doing, what our union's saying, and he wants to know everything. Like, he's digging.
You know, and that's the difference. That's the big divide between, and not to say anyone is better than the other, and fine, you give comments, I don't give a shit. But the difference between the military guy and the civilian dude, I think because of the crucible to which we have been trained and stuff that we've done over the last 20 years, right? We've been doing this crap. I think we're more suited to be like, I'm not getting shot at. Whereas my GA counterparts, they kind of stress out a little bit.
But I'm talking about like the uncertainty. Like,
yeah, they're not good with uncertainty. They're not good with.
But that's what's happening is like, you got the COVID-19 stuff going on, family life going on, your job is in peril potentially. And how do you plan for it when nobody's talking about it? Like, I don't know what your guys' unions are doing, but our union's saying it's not going to happen. And they're not giving any like, hey, you guys need to plan for the future. You guys need to figure this out. And it's all like hush, hush. And
that should tell you something right there. Look, when it comes to the corporations and the unions that we are involved in are no different. They're corporations. They're business entities. They have to hold their cards close. They just have to. And I don't think it's against us. I don't think it's this. It doesn't have to be this adversarial thing. But in that, take some notes. That means that we need to start doing for ourselves too, whatever that means. You know, if it means going back to school, if it means, you know, finally getting that degree, getting into a certain business. And with that sense of purpose, we end up having, it takes away from the fear factor because we're actively doing something. So then we're not worried about, oh crap. It's when we're idle and we're just kind of sitting there. We sitting on our hands is when we start getting, you know, worried, like, oh shit, you know, these people need to be telling me something. But let's be honest, they don't.
And this
we
is
like them too, but
this is the perfect opportunity to, like, whatever you've always wanted to do outside of aviation, to do it. You've got time. You've still
I wouldn't
got a
say
paycheck.
perfect, but it's one of the better opportunities because
you're still getting paid, right? Like,
no,
perfect,
but I mean the opportunities that, for instance, the job that I want to do doesn't exist right now, and there's no way to make it exist because professional sports don't exist.
Well, they will.
They will, though. What are you talking about? They exist.
As you know as good as anybody, it takes time to build a business, right, Adam?
So
like, build it so it's ready when the world comes back.
Well, I wish that was true, but I'm telling you, the person, because I don't want to build a business on this. I want to go to work for a company that does this already. And the problem is it not only doesn't exist right now, it's not going to come back the way it once did because of the advertising dollars that go with it. It's sports marketing.
Tyler, the XFL went out of business. Adam was really hoping to make
Oh, dude.
He was instrumental in that whole WWF to WWE movement.
I wanted to be a punt returner just so I could get clocked without, no fair catches, man. No fair
catches. The XFL is coming back, just so you know.
Thank God.
It'll be back. Tampa Bay Vipers, holler at your boy.
But what I'm saying is there are certain things, and I do agree that this is a good time to work on yourself a little bit, figure out what but even if you didn't do it and you figured out what it was that you want to go do, that is doing something. And I think that was the thing. Like, for me, that was the transitional leap that I needed to hear, because I was like, oh, I want to do the entrepreneurial thing. And I'm like, I kind of like it. It's fun, but I don't have an interest in going and opening a bunch of businesses, or I don't have that desire. And I said, but I would love to invest in people who do that stuff. I think that's really cool. I would like to do this thing with sports marketing on the side, but that's got to wait. But the fact that I realized that, learned it, made the contacts that I needed to make, so when stuff does start up again, I can go start, I'm going to start at ground zero and be a baby again and start all the way from the bottom and work myself up if I have to do that, because I'm interested and I want to do that. But for the guys who aren't doing that, and the gals who are sitting out there who are still going, oh my gosh, what happens October 1st? It's like, if that's all you're thinking about, then you do have to take some stock. If you're still thinking about that and that alone, you need to take some stock and figure it out, because there are people still doing that. They're still doing that.
I agree with Tyler, man. That was a perfect time. There's no such thing as a perfect time, but this is about as perfect as they get.
It's as good as you're gonna get.
Yeah, I mean, if you're still an airline guy and you're still getting paid to sit at home, you may or may not get furloughed. It's more than what the guys had in the past. I mean, they were getting letters like a month out. Oh, and by the way, here's your letter.
9/11, man.
You're furloughed in 30 days. We got like 6 to 8 months, if not, longer maybe. Well, 6 to 8 months.
9/11, you could go to the military though. We're downsizing on that side.
This might be an overly optimistic point of view, but I think when states reopen, everything's going to come back in a fury. I think the airlines
floodgates.
The airlines are preparing for the worst, but I honestly think that travel, I think by October we'll be back at like 70-80% capacity minimum. And
I think business travel might be affected significantly.
Yeah, I agree with
because of what the hell we're doing right now.
Yep.
Zoom, and like people are realizing, man, I can close the deal without actually taking.
Yeah, but they did this before. This has been historically this before too, where they had you can telecommute, you can meet online, and the thing is people generally don't like it. They like it for one-offs, but they don't like it for the regular.
How long ago was that?
Well, that's the thing. That's the difference. We're talking when it was still in infancy, and it worked, but it didn't work well.
I think, and here's the thing too, right? We're talking about the next 10 years, worldwide pilot shortage. This doesn't solve the problem, but the airlines will be hiring again. I don't know if it's in 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, 36 months, but they're going to hire again. And I wouldn't be surprised if like the federal government puts regulations on, whatever the number is, 60%, 70% capacity of an airplane, right? So they're not maximizing all the seats to create that social distance, whatever that is, which I think is bullshit in an airplane, but whatever.
We're sharing air. What the
sharing? It's going to create more demand for pilots 8 months from now.
There's a Washington Post article that says, "Is my airplane making me sick?"
Yeah, I read that.
If anybody has a chance to go read it,
it's good.
Go read the article, and it basically says that you're essentially, if everybody's masked, which prevents the airborne particles, you're as safe in an airplane as you are in an ER unit at a hospital. Like the same ventilation is there, the same sectioning off. Like Tyler, I actually highly doubt that they regulate the seating in an airplane.
How are they going to do that unless they subsidize?
You're right. That being said, it's all about public perception. Like Delta does it, then everybody else is going to like, oh, Delta's doing it. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out, but I don't think it's the doom and gloom. I think the airlines are prepping for the worst. They're, as we discussed earlier, basing it on, summer of 2021 or whatever, but they're making assumptions based on what's happening now, but nobody knows where it's going to be. And I think, outside of New York, New Jersey, this isn't even a thing anymore. I mean, it is, but it's not. I think people are just dying to travel again. The cruise lines are about to fire back up again.
Cruise lines are actually still got bookings. I couldn't believe that.
Well, you can get a 7-day cruise for like $130, man. It was like, and we're talking like the full thing, dude, because they probably got more booze stocked up now. They don't even know what to do with it.
My sister is a dentist in New York City, and dentists were considered the highest, most vulnerable
risk
to this disease, because you're sitting in front of somebody's mouth and their nose while you're working. And Cuomo came out and said, "You guys are not working for 3 more weeks. We're not opening up." And then this incident happened where people are taken to the streets, and then magically on Monday, he sent out and said, "All businesses are open tomorrow." My sister got rid of all of her bookings for 3 weeks. She's a struggling, brand new dentist in New York City. And, the rents are high there. She's got high, capital expenditure. And she's trying to backtrack all these appointments that she went and canceled because she was trying to do the right thing and give people a heads up. Hey, Cuomo's saying not 3 more weeks, so blah, blah, blah. And, but that's what I'm saying. Now we're getting the knee-jerk reactions. So everybody was going off data before, And now everybody's going off, well,
I don't think they were going off data before. It seems like a lot of knee jerk.
And all these people, so now, okay, so we just have all these riots, or whatever you want to call them, peaceful protests. There's 99% more protests than riots. And we're going to know pretty quickly here whether those cause a secondary outbreak. And then if those aren't, then people got to start listening to like the real numbers.
It's only 10 days out from Memorial Day, but the Lake of the Ozarks party that was there's been like one person, right? So, I mean, we still have 4 more days. 4 more days. This could like blow up, but there's nothing there. You know what I mean? That being said, the safest place to be is in the sun and outside, right? Because it dies within like 90 seconds in the sun and the heat. But I don't know.
I mean, I'm a ginger. I know for a fact that everything dies in 90 seconds in the sun.
He's dead right now.
Well, where's your soul?
Well, I think to wrap this partay up.
Where are you going?
Dude,
you have nothing to do.
Oh, yes, I do.
You're not doing anything.
It's movie night, man.
He has to speak to his real estate agent.
Movie night.
Jesus.
You gotta have an episode too, Brandon.
No, man, I want to spend time with somebody I like more than you.
Nobody likes you. Who would want to spend time with you?
Somebody I like more than you.
I know, but they got to like you back, don't they?
She doesn't like me, but whatever. But no, man.
You getting something tonight? Is it Thumper Thursdays?
Pizza? I'm getting pizza Thumper Thursday. That's good, man.
Brandon, she's pregnant.
Oh, free parking? Dude. Well, I guess not free parking. I guess you are paying for it. It's free parking for the 3 of us.
No, you knew she was.
If you're into that.
Yeah, that's good. I'm going to have her watch that, Brandon. She's going to like it because she knows you and you know her.
Yeah, she's got cute feet. It's cool.
She does have cute feet. No, you knew she was. I told you she was pregnant. I think I did.
Yeah, no, I thought she had the kid already. I don't know how. Was it 9 months, 3? I don't know. Do they pop out? It's just so much kids. Why would you do it again?
Why did you do it?
Shut up. Yeah, like anybody. Yeah.
That's why I'm saying it.
The biggest hypocrite that. Gray worm.
I need a
old gray worm, man.
You dived right in, bro.
I certainly did. Tax shelter. That's why.
Do as I say, not as I do, right, Brandon? Do as I say.
I'm trying to warn you.
Oh, shut up! Trying to warn me. What are you?
Yeah.
Thanks, big brother. I appreciate it.
No, not that. Omen of things to come. Look, speaking of which, I may be out of here too.
All right. So
hello.
I think when you look at all of this going forward, what do you guys think is your biggest? What are you most fearful of going forward with this stuff?
So do you want to do like the crystal ball, like
not necessarily crystal ball because I don't want to. Predictions are worthless, but like your personal feeling on like.
That's the only reason people would watch us is for predictions.
Nobody's gonna watch this anyway. So what does it matter?
That's a good point. Nobody's really gonna watch it.
Yeah, but maybe Tyler will rewatch it over and over again just so you can get the views up. But
Pornhub.
Release it on there.
No, what's your? Views. Can you ask your question?
No, like what like because
can you form your question in a form of a question?
Form your question in the form of a question. What is your biggest concern going forward as an airline pilot?
I don't have any.
None.
I really don't. It's gonna work itself out. I'm taking advantage of the downtime to do other things to better myself and in turn not have to rely on the airline should that happen. So I'm not worried about anything.
Zach?
I don't know. Mine would I really I don't know. My last week wasn't that great. So I would just say I would just be worried that people don't know what the next thing is or how to get to it. Like, I think, type A personalities, which most people are, whether you're military, GA, or wherever you come from, are smart folk. And, but if you put all your eggs in this basket, how do you pivot? We need to be able to try to give those answers. What are the pivots? You don't want to give up what your secret sauce is, but if
I do.
People that
I'm down to give up secret sauce on this show. Whatever you got. Yeah, I'm down for that. I mean, there's no sense in, There's no sense in holding it close. I'm not worried about competition and all that bullshit. No, do it. If you can do it and do it better, I hope you do it better.
Rising tide raises all boats, right, Brandon?
Yeah,
Rising
I'm
tide
down with that.
Let's give some proper.
So, are you more concerned with like the mental health aspect of this, or what it could potentially be for folks like us?
Yeah, because I mean,
yeah, I see that.
Dudes get divorced and shit happens, and you don't think divorces aren't going to happen because of this? Like,
oh, they definitely are. Yeah, I can see that happening.
I'm not like a Project Wingman dude. I don't work for our Project Wingman department, but I get the numbers and I see what happens. And I would just say we don't need a bunch of aviation consulting agencies out there. Like you're not going to be the first into that industry, and Sully's already got you beat to it. So like,
true.
Yeah.
My advice is just like Brandon said, like if you got a passion, a side hustle, or you know how to get information from people that better than other people, like try to find a way to find.
Well, now's the idea. Just whatever you've always wanted to do, put it on paper and step by step, and just
Tyler, can you talk a little bit about what you did though?
What's that?
Hell, they could contact us. Yeah, I was going to say they can contact us and figure out what the hell.
Tyler, why don't you talk a little bit about like what? Because Tyler could have gone to the airlines but didn't. So Tyler is a guy that chose not to go this route. And so why don't you talk a little bit about how you did that?
Yeah, I mean, I just had an idea and just started executing on it. You know, made a lot of mistakes along the way. Fortunately, the idea is starting to get some traction. You know, on the software side of it, like basically anything that you think of, and everybody will get to this point where there's speed bumps. And whenever you get to a speed bump, you have these tools at your disposal. It's called Google and YouTube, right? Like every problem you face has an answer, and you don't have to go to the library. You don't have to find a professor. You don't have to find a businessman who's already done it. All those things are good tools to tap into, but everybody has their iPhone and they can find all the answers. And it's literally start with an idea and then figure out, like, you know, a business plan, for example. Go to Microsoft Word, download a business plan, and then start filling it out for your idea. And it will help you work through whatever you're thinking.
Yeah, he's
and then
spot on.
At the end of that, now your idea is fully formulated, and then start talking to people. And don't be afraid to talk to people about your idea, because nobody's going to steal your fucking idea. Right?
Yeah. Like, why do people always think that?
That's not entirely true. Tyler, that's not entirely true. But you know what?
The risk,
it's not
a risk. The risk of somebody stealing your idea is very low, because most people will have their own ideas and don't even execute on their own ideas.
Well, but I was saying that tongue in cheek. What I think is the bigger thing is, once you do something or you act on something or you start something, if somebody else copies what you're doing and does it better, good for them, just like Brandon said.
Yeah, just make it better.
And if they're and take it as nothing but flattery too. Like, hey man, you came up with an idea and somebody else came in and did it better than you, but they took exactly what you were doing and thought the world of it and wanted to make their own thing doing it. So,
and you still have the opportunity to improve your product, better customer service, better marketing. Like it you don't have to tear down the buildings around you to be the tallest building. Just keep building the tallest building. You can always
learn your lesson and keep moving forward. Yeah. I love that.
And like even now,
competition breeds excellence, man. Anytime there's competition, it'll make you better.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, I mean, like, Tyler and I have talked to Najee about as you start a process anyway, it's never, even if they try to copy you, it's not going to be what you did. They're going to end up doing something. There's going to be a turn in their road on their journey that's going to make them go right when you went left. And now they're two completely different things. They may be in the same industry, but they're different.
It could even be an opportunity to merge and create a better product together. You know what I mean? It's like, now's the time to take the risk. Like, you have nothing to lose right now. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And I think in that, on the mental health side, Zach, and it's a good point. It may not afflict me on that, but you know, I know it afflicts others, is that'll distract you. That'll take you out of that mental health gray zone and get the gray matter working for you down the line. And you won't be, you know, into yourself and in your feelings and under the weather so much. I think it'll be under the weather. It's not a good term, right? I mean, sick, mentally sick, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it'll help you with that side of things too, if that's an issue. And I think, when it comes to, and I think it's bred in us, especially militarily, not to talk about that because, we get downed and we can't fly anymore if we start talking about mental health. So we think of productive ways to do things to help us with the mental health. So is that a form of suppression? Okay, yeah, fine. All the experts on here are going to be typing away, oh, he's just suppressing. Yeah, but we're very productive when we do it. So fuck you.
So my biggest concern, Brandon, you returned the question with me, was do I have to continually drive halfway to Detroit to still do my short calls? That's my biggest concern.
Just drive all the way to Detroit. Downtown is fun.
Yeah,
dude, I love downtown.
Go to the casino.
I used to live there, Tyler.
Oh, yeah.
I love downtown Detroit. Actually, I might buy a condo near the airport as my crash pad.
Yeah, near the airport. Did that get any better near the airport?
Yeah. Like Wayne County, if you go north about 10 minutes.
North.
Like north, kind of towards Livonia. It's all right.
Oh, Livonia's
I mean, it's not great, but it's like I'm not buying a condo in Livonia because I ain't spending $300,000 for a studio that I'm not going to ever live in. But yeah, something small. And there's a jiu-jitsu place about 5 minutes from one of the condos I'm looking at.
Perfect.
So go roll when I'm not at home.
There you go.
When that starts happening again.
You're not. Wow, we're rolling. You're not rolling.
Yeah, my
Oh, you're up there in the freaking
No. We're my academy's rolling. I am not.
Okay. Yeah.
I want to be, but I have been asked politely by my wife if I would skip it for a while because of the pregnancy, and I said I'll do. Pregnancy, sure, no problem.
That's not acceptable. Wow, wow.
Oh,
I mean, but I guess if you really don't love yourself.
Wow, you are a liar. Like you lied. No, you just lied. You lied on national television.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah,
nothing gets in the way of rolling.
This is called big man talk.
National television.
Yeah, YouTube's national.
Hell,
it's
I went
international.
Twice yesterday.
International television.
I even went twice yesterday. Man, you don't want to really roll. I get it. Oh, that white belt gets you, huh?
Yeah, pure pressure.
That white belt. You got white belt blues. I get that.
Pure pressure doesn't affect. I never asked you, what belt are you?
White belt, sure.
No, what are you?
I had a white belt once.
You're not a black belt, are you, though?
And next week's podcast will be Adam and Brandon
talking about
in the octagon.
Next week?
No, man. I'll talk about jiu-jitsu with Brandon all day long, man. I love talking about jiu-jitsu.
Hey, Brandon.
Unless your wife says you can't.
I can talk about it. I can't do it. You know who I do? I roll with my 3-year-old daughter, and she still beats my ass.
Attaboy.
You know what she said, Brandon? She goes, her favorite guard is butterfly. And she said, Dad, I'm going to put you in a triangle. And I go, all right.
All right.
Hey, let's close this out. Let's close this out with Zach telling a story about how he passed out on a freighter that was about to leave Japan.
Yeah.
Oh. We have Zach, 4 minutes. Tell the story, and we'll call it a night.
Yeah. So my first assignment in the Air Force was Okinawa, Japan, and like Naha, Japan, they don't start partying until 11 o'clock at night. So it's very similar to like Las Vegas, except for it's just normal city. And we went out and we'd been drinking all day long. We go to what we call the Bada Bing, which is it's usually a Japanese only club, but we had a couple of Japanese Americans and they got us in the club, and it was a adult men's facility, if you would like. And we spent a long time there with a lot of people from the Eastern Bloc and such providences like that, drinking a thing called a blue shot, which we had no idea what was in there. And like nowadays I'm like, holy shit, why was I drinking shots that were just like, they just called blue shot? Because it could have had anything in it. Who fucking knows? Like EPO, I could be Lance Armstrong, who knows what we're testing for. And but they just wanted to keep us in there, and we drank, and then the after hours bars, they go to like 4 or 5 in the morning, and
thirsty.
This thing where I just love to walk when I would get wasted. So like I just walked down, and I was walking down by the pier, and apparently I was tired because I just walked onto a boat and just took a nap. And then next thing I know, like I hear ropes slamming against the side of this, like whatever I'm sleeping on. And I jump up and they're like trying to go to sea. It was a seafaring, like fishing boat.
Oh my God.
Fishing vessel going to kill dolphins.
And I made it back home, but like I went and asked my neighbor, I was like, hey man, like there was these guys and they were going, and he's like, they go to sea for like 60 days at a time.
How awesome.
That would have been great.
What if I would have been 24 years old and I would have just been at sea for like 70 days. There was no cell phones. There was no sat rat or anything.
What would your job have been? Would you have been a chef or would you have been like a deckhand?
Oh, deckhand for sure.
Oh, he would have been swabbing something.
Swabbing the nobbin.
And by swabbing, I mean,
dude. I wonder if you could have double dipped and gotten.
They're Japanese.
You got paid for active duty and made some money as a merchant marine at the same time. Like I would have been like, hey, yo, I would work for 60 days.
Can you log those hours?
Could you imagine the headlines though? Like them reporting me dead, like
lost at sea.
Come back and I'm like, hey, I'm here. What's up?
They already had your funeral.
The squadron
at your own funeral.
The squadron wouldn't have cared. They'd have been like, oh yeah, you're non-current and we need you to get your information protection and force awareness CBT done.
Luckily, I woke up. That's all I'm saying.
Amazing.
You're low-ack.
Beautiful.
Well, thanks, guys. I had a fucking awesome time tonight.
I did
thanks,
too.
Tyler, for having us, man.
Let's do this again.
See you guys next week.
We shall.
Yep.
All right, guys.
All right, fellas.
Adios.
Yep.
See ya.